So good evening everybody and welcome to Scotland's Rural College Aberdeen campus presentation and student question and answer session. So I'd like to thank you so much for coming along tonight, and I hope you're going to find tonight's event full of lots of information about studying at Craibstone and what we can offer. So firstly, some introductions. My name is Bridget Edmonston and I am the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officer on the campus. In a few seconds, I'm going to introduce you to my colleague, Audrey Channing, who's, I'm going to take a big gulp because it's a long title, Academic Liaison Manager, I'm going to have to read this, and Campus Administration Manager. Audrey pretty much knows everything that's going on in the campus, so you need to get to know Audrey quite well. Audrey's going to run through her presentation, and that's going to give you some information on studying on campus, as well as other important information such as funding and student support. Following Audrey's presentation, we're going to have a student question and answer session with two of our student ambassadors. That's Lucy, who's currently an animal care student, and Kat, who is studying RBM. They're going to tell you the reality of what it's like to be a student at SRUC Aberdeen. So feel free to ask us any questions. You'll see at the top of your screen there's a question mark icon. If you click on that, I'll open up the chat and you can type your questions into that at the end. One other thing before we get started, we are recording the event, so if you miss any important information, you'll be able to revisit the recording and I'll send that out to you in an email in the next couple of days. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Lucy and Kat and Audrey, and then we'll share Audrey's presentation. So hi, Lucy.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucy and I'm studying animal care.
And hello to Kat.
Hello everyone, I'm Kat and I'm just finishing my first year in Rural Business Management.
Thanks Kat, and now on to Audrey.
Hi everybody, my name's Audrey Channing and as Bridget says, I'm the Academic Liaison Manager up at Craibstone. And this is Craibstone you can see in front of you. This is the Ferguson building in bloom, very, very pretty. So just take you through a short presentation. First of all, welcome. This is what we're going to be speaking about, learning opportunities at SRUC, what student support can offer you, some information about application funding and fees, some information about the faculty support team, the library, Hillhead accommodation, and SRUC, the Students' Association. So our mission is basically to help mobilise, knowledge and, help young talent get on the ladder, the career path. We've got a wide range of courses at SRUC over all our campuses, but some of the ones that we offer here up in Aberdeen are agriculture, land-based skills. We have organic farming. As was mentioned earlier on, we've got a great animal care course with an animal care unit. The equine course is starting up. Veterinary nursing degree is a way to start up. Wildlife and conservation management and environmental management, sorry. So there's something here for everybody. And you can start at foundation level with a certificate or a diploma, and you can move up through the further education. So generally starting off at an intro or an NC, national certificate level, or you could do an SVQ. Moving on from there, you progress into the HNC or HND, so that's first, second year equivalent of your degree. Your undergraduate degree level, if you decide to go for a degree rather than just an HNC or an HND, you've got your Bachelor of Art or Bachelor of Science, and depending on which subject area, the curriculum area. And then you can move on, if you want to stay with us for just that a little bit longer, onto an MSc or a PhD. We also offer training and vocational courses. We have links with schools. As you've probably all heard nowadays, everybody's doing blended learning, so that's nothing new now. And we've got flexible learning, so we've got part-time and distance. And then at periods throughout the year, we've got professional development opportunities where we bring people back, to further their career and their experience. Our courses help you grow, they do. When I watch a student coming in at the very beginning and they've come in at an intro level and I see them graduate a few years later, there is nothing better than seeing that development. And you'll be working in teams and you learn a lot of transferable skills that way. You may be working on case studies depending on your course, you may be working on projects, doing research, and just about every course has presentations built into it. Most of the courses have practical skills, so if you're working on the animal care course, you'll be in the animal care unit working with reptiles, amphibians, small furries, and the Shetland ponies. Can't miss out the Shetland ponies. We assess you in a number of ways. We have continuous assessments, graded units, as most of you probably know. The graded units are the big end of year exams or the big end of year projects. We've been doing that differently this year. We've been doing it through continual assessment. We've been doing it through projects, reports, and next year there may very well be the chance that there's still going to be an element of blended learning. So it may be that way again next year. For some of you, depending on the course that you're on, certainly if it's an animal care course or a vet course or a VCA, then work experience is a must. Go out there, get into the field, get your hands dirty with the animals, and and get to know what you're going to be working in, the environment you're going to be working in. And then what everybody loves and what we've really, really missed this year, I can't believe how much we've missed it, is the field trips all over the place, all over Scotland. They sometimes go to the islands, they go up the hills, up the mountains, they're on the shore, they're just absolutely everywhere doing these field trips. And if I get the chance, I like to boogie along just for the fun of it. So the faculty office, that's the faculty admin, the main reception, the people who can help you with just about any query you want. So if you're stuck not knowing about buses, how you get a student ID card, because remember that ID card gets you all your discounts, all the shops and your cinema and all the eateries. Printing, if you want to signpost to find out about funding and fees. What's the bus system, because we've got a bus that comes from centre of Aberdeen, we've got another one that's going to come from Hillhead Halls. If you want to signpost it to student support, if you want a letter for your council tax, you name it, anything you can probably think of, the girls in the faculty office will help you out. Health and safety on the campus take really, really seriously. We have a first aid room and we have a number of qualified first aiders throughout the campus, and they're on each course as well. So when you're going out on field trips, you've got first aiders with you. For those moments where you just think, I need to get away from it, we've got a quiet room. You might find a number of staff in there and you might have to heave-ho them out, but there is a quiet room. We've got a counselling and pastoral service on campus as well. So if you're just having that little bit of a rough time and you need that extra support to get through the studies, we can signpost you. Safeguarding, number of safeguarders throughout the organisation. We have male and female safeguarders on campus. So if there's something that you're worried about, something that you just need some support with, and you need that extra support to maybe help you elsewhere, you can come give us a shout. And COVID-19, we've got all the COVID-19 preventative measures in place. We've got the social distancing, we've got the mask, we've got the one-way system, we've got the round and round. We've got a batch of cleaners who are just going round and round cleaning the place, all the touch points to make sure that everything is as safe as possible. We work very, very closely with the Scottish Government, the twice weekly meetings from our campus and estates team to keep on top of it, to know what we need to be doing, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. As I said about safeguarding, we are absolutely committed to providing all our students with a safe place, safe, supportive place to work and to study, and we take these duties very, very seriously. So any issues at all, get in touch with the safeguarding team. So student support, that area comes within my remit as well, and I've got a fabulous team now. It really was just 2 of us at one point, and now there's 6 of us, and we can help with all sorts of things. Study planning, study support sessions, proofreading. Do you need help with scribing? Can we arrange additional time for your assessments and exams? Not this year, unfortunately. We haven't had the therapet sessions, but they're brilliant when they come in. A couple of times a year, we have the therapet sessions going. Everybody just goes down for a quick cuddle. We can give you support with ADD, ADHD, dyslexia. If you're going on to an HN or above programme, then we can actually get you formally tested for dyslexia if you don't already have a diagnosis. And that can help you going forward in the future for your additional time, sometimes with some IT resources, sometimes, with extra funding, just to help you with your studies. We can support a wide range, of different needs: autism, mental health, anxiety, visual impairment. Yes, I can't think of anything that we can't really, step in and give a hand with. If you're a student who's got experience of a care system, we can put additional support in place for you. And I know there's additional funding there as well at times. We have a careers person, so we can offer a course on career progression. We have somebody who's in charge of funding, so discretionary funds, if you're finding it tough, we've got little pots of money. Educational maintenance allowance, we can help you apply for that. And we've also got national certificate and centenary bursaries. And then when we look at funding a little bit more in depth, your bursaries are for your FE courses. So if you're on an intro course or a national certificate course, you can apply for a bursary. You don't have to pay that back. Depending on your age, if you're under 18, you can apply for an educational maintenance allowance. And you can also apply for travel expenses. So if you're more than 2 miles away from college, you can apply for money to help you get into campus. Tuition fees, if you're HE, then it's SAS you're looking at. So you can apply to SAS for, your tuition fees, and you can ask for help with living expenses. Now, both your bursaries and both your tuition fees depends on your family income. So they take that into account. Other little pots of money that we've got kicking around, we've got help, might be able to help you with childcare. Discretionary fund, everybody goes through a bad time sometime. Sometimes that unexpected bill comes in. Sometimes, you can't afford to go and get another job because you're trying to focus on study. An unexpected bill comes in. So depending on the circumstances, we may be able to help you out. And centenary bursaries, that's exactly what it says. Every so often pots of money comes by and you're invited to apply for it. The library, for a long time during COVID, it was, you gave us a shout and we sent it out to you, but we're back open again on campus. And we've got a click and sit and a click and collect option. So you can get in touch with the library and you can say, I would like such and such, because you can get into the online library through the online portal and look at the e-catalogue. And you can ask for books, journals, etc. to be sent out to you. Or you can do a click and sit and say, I'd like to book a computer for a few hours and let us know when you want to come in. In the library as well, they can help you with your passwords. So if you've forgotten or if you need it reset, if you need printing done, if you need help with referencing or proofreading, they can help you in there as well. And the library currently is about to be transformed, and I really do mean transformed. If you've ever been into Craibstone and seen it before, it was big, massive space, not much kind of feel to it. Over the summer, and hopefully before everybody comes back onto campus, the canteen and the library is undergoing a serious makeover. And I can't wait, I really can't wait to open it and see everybody in the new facilities. And this is where we come on to the Hillhead Student Village. I'm pretty sure, if you've been watching anything about SRUC recently, you'll be aware that our own halls, we won't have them next academic year. But what we have done is we've got in touch with the University of Aberdeen and we've knocked on their door and said, any room at the inn? And they've said, yeah, okay, we're going to reserve some rooms for you. And they very, very kindly said, we'll put up some students for you. It is first come, first served, but they do have plenty of rooms. We've booked out what we would normally have in halls, and we think it'll be absolutely fine. So don't panic, because I know some of you may be thinking, I need to have have an unconditional offer. I've only got conditional so far. Please don't worry. I'm not worried about capacity at all. If you've got any worries about it, any concerns, give me a shout, drop me an email. Happy to talk with you. So where possible, the first year students, when you're first in, you're going to be housed together. And I'm going to go through the different housing options so you can see it. Returning students, you might be mixed in with others from either from NESCOL or from University of Aberdeen. And when you actually book your accommodation, you can choose whether you would like single or mixed gender flats, and they will do their best to accommodate what you ask for. So let's have a look at the event. So first of all, we've got Carnegie Court, and these are basically flats with 5 ensuite study bedrooms. All of the halls have internet access. They've got shared kitchens, there's a microwave cooker, fridge, freezer and a kettle, so there's the main things in there, but what they don't provide you with are crockery, pots, pans, etc. The Carnegie Court has 3/4 size beds, and again, the bedding itself isn't provided. They've all been recently refurbished and they really are lovely. I've never figured out how to say that middle word, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to call it Hector's Court, okay? I'm not doing it. So these are self-catering flats, and they've got 5 single study bedrooms, again, internet access, the shared kitchens, and all done to a really nice standard. These ones have got single beds and shared bathrooms. Then we have North Court, and that's flats for 3 to 4 persons with single study bedrooms. Same again, internet access, shared kitchens. It really is just a little bit of a difference in the size of the space and the size of the rooms and the size of the bed. And we've got a leaflet, and there's a link on our website as well that takes you to Aberdeen University. And you can see there's the website address down at the bottom there as well, so that you can actually go and you can have a look at the accommodation, you know, at your leisure. This is what I really, really liked about it. They've got, now a lot of people are a little bit worried when they heard we aren't going to have halls and, you know, what's going to happen. They do have a 24-hour management team. So there's somebody there 24/7, 365 days of the year. There's somebody there. So if you're in halls and there's a party going on next door, or you're just feeling a little bit anxious, you can call somebody and say, hey, and they'll come and speak to you. Free car parking. There's an on-site laundry. If you're lucky, you'll meet the resident cat. We met the resident cat when we were there. He was not going anywhere. Unlimited and free Wi-Fi. Your electricity and heating's all included. There are regular security patrols, and there is CCTV on site. I was looking for that when I was there to see where it is, and there is plenty of it. On-site maintenance, definitely saw those guys working when we were there. And then you've got access to the Headspace building. And this is what I really like. They've got a 24-hour reception. So middle of the night, you need something, you can boogie on down. They've got an on-site shop, and I actually probably fell over myself because it was like, I can see gin, you know, on a student campus. I couldn't believe it. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but they do. They've got an on-site shop and they've got all sorts of goodies in there, so you're not going to go hungry. They've got a Works Cafe bar. You can see the canteen down there. It's really, really nice space. They've got games tables, they've got study spaces. They had a massive hall that they use for either sports events or TV screenings. They've got another room where they do things like cookery demonstrations, and they had crafts. There was all sorts of stuff in that room when we were there. They've got quiet rooms, they've got social spaces, they've got rooms where you can just plug in your laptop. I'm visually walking around the building just now, and they've got, Bridget, am I right in thinking they had Amazon click and collect boxes?
They did, yes, they did.
Yeah, I did think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really is. It is a vibrant student village. It's great. It's fantastic. As I said, bus transport. No, there won't be any sheep on there, promise. But bus transport, still putting on the coach from the Aberdeen city centre into Craibstone campus, and then we're going to put on shuttle buses as well between Hillhead Halls and the Craibstone campus. The bus usually leaves from Union Street around about 8 in the morning, and it usually does its depart journey around about 4:45 at night to get back into the city centre. I think I'm going to put on the buses for around about the same time as Hillhead. It is closer. Once the roadworks are finished, it shouldn't take too long to cross the main roundabout in Aberdeen, Hadigan. But I can be closer, I can be more accurate about that time and closer to the point. SRUCSA. SRUC is the students' union, and we have a campus officer, co-vice president actually this year, and she's going to still be in place next year. We look for, you know, and you've already met two of our student ambassadors. Bridget's always on the look for student ambassadors to help us with events. We have student liaison groups and student liaison committees, and that's when, as you know, we invite you to come and speak to your course tutors, to your heads of department, and then speak to me and the board of management to say, hey, we really like this, we really don't like that, can you think about this, can you add this, you know, and you tell us what works for you, and we do our absolute utmost to put it in place. Student life, well, fingers crossed. Seriously, I'm keeping it all crossed that we're going to have a Freshers Week this time. I really want a Freshers Week. This is when we make you dress up and do all sorts of bizarre things, really. So maybe it's more fun for us than you, but hey, it is good fun. Agricultural Society, again, I'd really like to see that up and running. They usually do things like have football matches and rugby matches with the other campuses. They scoot up and down between Aberdeen and Edinburgh. You know, they have a great time. We had a Rural Skills and Bikes Club, so you know we had people who were into cycling, and then another bunch who would go off and do all sorts of weird and wonderful things, digging up fauna and looking in ponds and just all sorts of things, outdoorsy things. We like to get involved in charity events where we can, and you can see here we were all kind of dressed up for Pudsey Day. Any chance for a dress up. The SRUC ball. So again, fingers crossed, we'll actually, you know, be able to come out of social distancing and have our ball. And then I think something that we've all been desperate for, especially those who have graduated and those who are, you know, looking at their graduation coming closer. We have a fantastic graduation ceremony, and fingers crossed we'll be there this year. So why come to Craibstone? Why come to us? We're small and we're very friendly. We've got a great community spirit. We've got easy transport links into a good university town. Lots of attractions, lots to do there. We have flexible learning options. We have excellent teaching facilities, and we can help you progress into employment. So on this last slide here, I've got some useful contacts, and as Bridget said, she'll be sending out this presentation, so you'll have this at your fingertips. But if there is anything at all, get in touch. If you go via Bridget, and if you need to speak to me for anything, then I'm more than happy to, you know, have a chin mag, give you more information. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Audrey. That covered so much in such a short time. And I think I just want to reiterate what Audrey said about the halls. I was lucky enough to go with Audrey and have a look round. And, you know, it's a big thing for Craibstone. We've lost our halls, but honestly, you know, these halls are fantastic, you know, and when I went there, I'm sure like Audrey did as well, I kind of, God, I wish I could go back and be a student again. You know, they really are fab. And you were going to speak to Kat in a minute, who was in our halls last year and is now going to be going to Hillhead. So we'll have a chat with her about that. But it really is, it's going to be fab. And another good thing about it is it's only a very short journey into the city centre as well, with all that offers as well. So I think for the student experience, it's going to be absolutely wonderful to come to the small campus to study and then have the experience of you know, the living in the halls with everything else that offers us. So anyway, thank you very much, Audrey. And now to the interesting bit, we're going to have a chat with our two ambassadors and really hear what it's like to be a student at Craibstone, because I think that's more important to actually hear what it's like for our students. So I'm going to ask the girls some questions, keep them on their toes, and we'll just have a chat about all things Craibstone, all things courses and just things like that, and just kind of get a feel for what it's like to be a student. So the first question I've got is for Kat, because Kat's quite special. Kat's come up from England and she's come quite a long way to come and study with us. So I just wanted to ask you, Kat, you took the plunge, that's well, going on for a year ago now, and you moved up to Aberdeen. what was that like for you? It's a pretty big move, and obviously we were pretty much still in semi-lockdown then. So, you know, it was not in normal circumstances, not what you probably planned. What was that like? And did you see much of Aberdeen when you were here?
Well, moving was like really nerve-wracking because obviously nothing was open. Everything was like a ghost town. Here and Aberdeen was pretty similar, as in nothing was open. So the 5.5 hour, 300-mile car journey wasn't an easy one. But Aberdeen itself was obviously still busy. People still, like the ones that necessarily had to work, key workers, were still about, and the Aberdeen city just like thrived as I got there. I was just like, oh, I actually really like this. I'm not a city person at all, but it felt quite nice to get somewhere that still had things moving, whereas England, everything was just locked down. There was nothing. Everything was empty. But obviously getting there in September, arriving to the halls, was kind of lonely at first because everyone was moved staggered, so none of us saw each other at first. It was like hearing ghosts walk around. We could hear each other, but we didn't see each other, which was kind of scary because there's other people there. There's other girls. You can hear them like waving at each other from the end of the corridors. But it was so weird. But it was just so nice knowing that you weren't on your own at a time where you kind of think, oh, there's nothing. Everything is shut for safety, and then it was just nice knowing that there was people there. I mean, I did enjoy moving into halls though, because I do really like travelling. Personal preference, but I do like travelling. I did cry when my mum left though. I did cry like a baby. There was snot bubbles. I was a mess. It was terrible. But I was in halls for maybe 3 months just. And we shared a kitchen, so I got to know the girls really well that I lived with. There was only 8 of us. It was really nice though, and those same girls that I moved in with are now going to be my flatmates in September. So I'm quite glad they liked me, because I was scared in case they weren't going to like me. But I can't wait to move in with them in September, because obviously Hillhead is heaps better than what Sutton was. There's more to do, it's a bigger space, it looks nicer. So yeah, I'm quite happy to move in. Yeah.
Thank you, Kat.
That's
So,
right.
when you were here, what did you do in Aberdeen? Did you do anything much? I mean, I suppose we were still semi in lockdown. There was some stuff to do, but what all did you do while you were here?
We mainly just took big midnight trips to Asda. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of our thing. Restaurants were still open, so we still went out for little meals, because obviously public space, we could know each other better there. So there was a few Pizza Huts, a few Wagamamas, but we did just take long nighttime drives, because in a confined space you kind of have to get along with each other, otherwise it makes it really unhappy and really awkward. But yeah, we went to restaurants and discussed our love of food, and then I mentioned I didn't like chicken, and everyone was up in arms about it, and that was just getting to know each other. Was just long drives, late trips to Asda, and little trips to restaurants during the day. It was really nice.
It just sounds like being a student.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've just said, that you've had you've booked into Hillhead with some of your other the girls that you met in halls, and you were saying to me earlier today it was quite a straightforward, easy process.
Yeah, it was really, really easy to apply. So I just emailed Hillhead Accommodation being like, look, I'm interested, I live 300 miles away, I'm really interested in staying in Northcourt. So I emailed them, they sent me the application form, and I was quite lucky because I applied saying I wanted to share a flat with the girls that I'd met, and they did really go above and beyond to try and make sure that obviously I'd be with the girls that I'd asked for. But they do really try and keep, if you prefer to stay with all women, then they try to keep it with all women, whether it's mixed or, I don't have a preference, but obviously it's completely up to you, and they tailor it to what you want because it's your personal private space. So they try to make it as home-like as possible, but home away from home. It was so easy. and you do it straight through University of Aberdeen though. It's like it's very quick communication personally between you and them, and then it's sorted. It's so easy. It took maybe a couple of days at most.
That's great, especially, you know, when now you know that that's where you're going after the summer. You know, hopefully if everything's as it's hopefully going to go, that, you know, that's you sorted out for your accommodation, and you're closer to Pizza Hut and Wagamama's and all these other places as well. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Closer than being out at Craibstone. Lucy, tell me, what made you apply to SRUC, and why do you think Craibstone's a good option for students?
I applied to SRUC because I was really interested in animals and I've always wanted to work with them. And SRUC gives you a really good variety of reptiles and small mammals. We've got ponies. It's just a really good choice and it's very practical. Obviously, I was in SRUC before COVID, so it's quite strange to see the difference between then and what it's like now. Everyone's very socially distanced and masks. It's hard to put names to faces, but we got there at the end. It's just good to see all the animals again. I think if you're wanting a change and you want to follow like your love of animals and have a go at it, I really would, because all the teachers are fantastic. Everyone's really friendly and helpful. And yeah, I couldn't recommend it more. It's awesome.
Thanks, Lucy. Yeah, we've got some interesting things going on today. Lucy and I ended up involved with a camera crew this afternoon, so it's been a very interesting day for Lucy and I today. Lucy, think back, gosh, it's so long ago now. Can you remember what it was like when you were a new student, pre-COVID, pre all of what we've had in the last, 14, 15 months? Can you remember what it was like to come to Craibstone as a new student?
Just barely. It's been so long. But no, I was super nervous going to college because I took some time off to work, and then I went to an open day just like one of these, except it was face to face, and got to see the facilities that they have there, and it was really good. Everyone was friendly. We were in college about 3 days a week, and it was split between practical and theory. And it was a good mix, and there was loads of clubs and stuff and anything that you would want to do and be able to meet new people. It was really good. And hopefully I'll get back to that soon.
Yeah, hopefully you will. It sounds fantastic. And Kat, so you've had for Lucy, she had that experience of being an on-campus student and everything as it was back in the day. We'll be saying that now, back in the day before COVID. But you came during all of this. What was it like for you? What's your experience been so far?
It's been a bit of an odd one. I'm not gonna lie, but it's been pretty similar for everybody this year. So, like, my first year was the typical, blended learning. So that's like a few lectures online, and then you get the assessments that you do independently, but the staff are always there to help you. So you do kind of think about university as in like going into class, meeting loads of people, like going on the sesh every night, and having such like a big student personality. But take that away and it's just a little bit meh. But I didn't feel like that at all. I still thoroughly enjoyed my time. Meeting my classmates was a bit of a struggle though, I have to say, but obviously with the invention of Snapchat, we got to see like a little, insight into everyone's lives and see where we all like live and how far away, and get to see what we get up to. And it's as it was, just maybe it's not with each other. But I can't really praise the staff enough, because without them I'd still be stuck doing my financial report test 3 months ago. So I can't exactly, I don't have the best view of what a university lifestyle is, but I've been more than happy with what I've been thrown at this year. Yeah.
Thanks, Kat. And I think as well, you know, like Audrey said in her presentation, we're a small campus with a big personality, and you know, the fact that our class sizes are smaller will have helped Kat. You know, they're not classes of hundreds of students like in your traditional universities where you'd probably get quite lost. You know, we're small, and you know, what I love about it being a staff member is that the relationships between the staff and the students are amazing, and that is one thing that I can say is a huge selling point for Craibstone, that you know the relationships are fantastic, and that just alludes to a really good campus personality, and you know how we are as a college. So the next question I'm going to ask is to Lucy. Did you take part in any clubs or societies prior to everything going haywire? And if you didn't, do you know much about what we had on campus?
No, sadly, I didn't have the nerve to go to a club, but sad because this year I would have. But I know that they've got loads of clubs. There's just something for everybody. There's agricultural clubs. We've got kind of like fitness clubs, football, just something for everyone, really.
I think as well, you know, it does change. I think Audrey will probably agree with me. It does change year by year. There's the set clubs and societies like the Agri Society that is there year on year. That's quite a tradition. But the smaller clubs, they change with the students because they are student led. So if some students have got a particular interest and they can gather together numbers, then we run different clubs. So we sometimes have craft clubs and things like that as well. I can't think, Audrey, what else? What else is there? I'm trying to think, my mind's gone blank.
You're right, we did have the fitness, we did have the craft, and the TV. I think there was a book club as well.
Yeah.
Whatever students say, hey, we would like, then we'll do our best to get it up and running. And you know, with the support from SRUC, they'll put money into it. You know, they won't run it or lead it, but they'll support, you know, by putting some money into the pot to help get things up and running. And I would like to think that, you know, anybody who's moving into halls as well, they'll form friendships. You know, there's going to be such a diverse group of people in the Hillhead halls with so many different backgrounds, and they've got so many different clubs and societies available to them there as well. I could see things developing as we go forward. So students may get ideas from being at Hillhead and say, hey, can we join in? Can you do it for us? You know, so I can see lots of potential growth.
Yeah, I think as well, you know, when Audrey and I went to Hillhead, one of the things that I was quite impressed with was the room that Audrey was saying that there was so much going on in it. They actually had barbecues there as well, and they have 4th of July barbecues with all the from the students from North America, and you know, so there's lots of other opportunities off campus that you know will open up at the university. And the other two things we didn't mention as well from time gone by, there's an agri ball, and there's also our animal care students also run a ball as well for students. There's other things for you as well to socialise as well. And Lucy, can you remember Freshers Week when it wasn't online like last year, not quite the same as a normal Freshers Week? Can you remember what that was like?
Again, I was too shy to do anything, but we did activities like the Craibstone Olympics. There was movie nights, barbecues, and you were able to sign up for clubs and societies as well.
Thanks, Lucy. Have you got anything else to add to that, Audrey, about Freshers Week?
Well, I do, but I don't know if it's appropriate. There was a thing when they're talking about the Olympics. I think we've tried to put 4 people in a great big tatty sack and see if they could all hop in tandem. There was some kind of weird cheese puff thing, because each department came up with their own thing. So at one point I walked into a room and people were having cheese puffs thrown at them. There was a kind of identify the beastie, and there was some really horrible creepy crawlies. I think that might have been the wildlife and conservation management lot that were up to that. I'm surprised Heidi didn't come in with her jars of specimens. If you go onto the animal care or the veterinary nurse course, our veterinary nurse PTL does have a nice collection of things in jars. That's all I'm going to say. There was recognise the footprints. That was an interesting one. You know, you had to figure out the footprints of different things. There was some kind of, what's that thing when you go out and find different articles? They had to go and find it. Yeah, some kind of treasure hunt going on. So there was some very strange people dressed up in. Oh, there was a thing where people put the tights on their head and were flinging around balls or something. I think it was human skittles. And toss the welly, that's always a good one. The Agries love to do toss the welly to see who can get the welly the furthest. And then there was the tug of war, which is basically the Agries versus the rest of Craibstone. And I'm sure the Agries still won. So yeah, the Freshers events can be a lot of fun. And it wasn't the same online. And I'm just keeping everything crossed that we can do something. We've got stuff planned, and I'm just keeping it all crossed that we can do it.
We'll all keep everything crossed in the next few months that we do get back to some kind of normality. Kat, that brings me to us all working together, and we've had a pretty good year. We started off with 6 ambassadors, and then we're down to 3 of us because a couple of the girls have taken some time out. But Kat, you decided to sign up for an ambassador. Was that something that you planned to get involved in, or how did that come about?
I kind of joined university with the idea of throw yourself into anything and then just deal with the consequences afterwards. So when I saw the applications for student ambassador, I was like, just do it. Just do it. Like, what could go wrong? And luckily nothing's gone wrong so far. And it's something that I feel like I don't want to sound conceited, but I feel like I've taken it like duck to water kind of, because I really like chatting. I like to talk a lot, and then so the idea of talking to people about something that I really like, just sort of, I quite like it. Yeah, so I can be passionate and vent about rural business management and farming to people that kind of are relatively interested, and they just have to stand there and take it. So whilst being at university doing a degree, and anyone can get into it, literally anybody. So you come into university being like, oh, maybe I don't want to do it, because I can't give you a thing to not do it.
I think it's a great way as well to kind of get yourself launched into kind of knowing what's going on as well. I think that certainly Lucy and Kat and Freya and myself, that you know, we've had lots of laughs and you know, we've got to know each other, and you know, I've been able to tell them what's going on, and it's just kind of given, I think it's probably given them a broader experience of what's going on in the other courses, particularly because of where we are at the moment, that you know, they're not seeing their other counterparts on campus. So you know, we meet up regularly and we have informal chats, and you know, we come up with a plan of what we're going to do. So Kat and Lucy are amazing. They make me videos and things like that for content for social media. So they're my 2 go-to stars. So yeah, it's a lot of social media stuff and open days as well, like this. But hopefully one day in the future we'll get to see your faces instead of just talking to a screen and not actually seeing you, because that's one thing that I do miss, is actually meeting everybody at open days. Lucy, what else do you have to do? What you know, other than probably what I've mentioned, is there anything else that?
So yeah, mostly what you've mentioned. We do the open days like these. Hopefully sometime in the future soon we'll get to do it face to face and have more interaction with that kind of things. We do social media posts, just keeping you up to date on things like national days. I think we did a National Wildlife Day. Got some good pictures, and yeah, it's really good. Photographs, anything really that can promote SRUC and the beautiful country that we live in, the wildlife, is very good.
Thank you. And yeah, I think the good thing is that when we do have our chats, you know, we all come up with ideas. It's not just all about the marketing department, and that's the whole point of it, is to be student led. And you know, these guys are the ones that know far more about social media than an old codger like me. You know, so it's for them to come up with the ideas that actually will work for, you know, for our student body. So yeah, so if anybody that is coming perhaps potentially in September thinks they would like to do it, you can just let me know. So we're just going to talk a wee bit now about the courses that you're doing. Kat, could you maybe just give me a little bit of an insight into your course?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm studying rural business management, which kind of, in my terms, is kind of like the behind the scenes of agriculture. So this like mixes a business course with the things you'd find in an agriculture course. So saying that, we share a lot of our lessons with the agri students, whether that be in lessons called livestock production systems or anything related to crops. But then that is then mixed with business lessons and financy bits and stuff like that. So things that you would find on a farm, just the paperwork part of it, stuff that relates to DEFRA and stuff like that, like legalities of it. So I'm very new to agriculture, with having only like 4 years of experience in the field. Mind the pun. So having that, and then having as less experience as I do, it's a way for me to get into agriculture without going full steam ahead, full force into it, and possibly making some mistakes that I'd probably be quite embarrassed by. So this is structured with like in-class lessons and normally field trips, but obviously due to Corona, we can't do that. But our field trips have been pre-recorded, so we get to watch them and still learn exactly how we would any other way. It's pretty much it. It's mixed. It's kind of blended learning as well, actually. So you know, you've got your lectures and then you've got a few assessments and assignments, but it's pretty similar to most courses. It's just very interesting.
Thank you, Kat. I think the other thing as well that our students have missed out on this year and last is the fact that normally we have trips overseas, educational trips overseas. So that is something that happens once a year for most of our courses, that students get the opportunity to go abroad and have I think a week visiting businesses that are relevant to their course. Last year I was teaching on the rural business management course actually, and I was supposed to be going to northern Italy with the students, and we were going to go to a Parma ham factory, a balsamic vinegar factory, vineyards, which I was looking forward to, and various other businesses related to that part of the world, which I think would have just really added to the breadth of their education. But unfortunately, at the last minute, we were cancelled. So that's something that hopefully in the future we'll be able to bring back again. And Lucy, what about you? Tell me a bit about what you're studying and what's going to be happening in the next year.
Yeah, so I'm studying animal care. I've come into the college in the intro level and worked my way up to the level that I'm doing just now, which is the NC. Usually with the intro, it was more practical work mixed in with theory. and it's kind of switched over this time with COVID as well, I guess. More theory online, and I've just finished my 3 weeks practical, which is my favourite part. I love working with the animals. Yeah, there's various assessments and stuff that we do, but it's all spread out throughout the year, so it's not like one big exam at the end. That I think I would be quite freaked out if it was like that. Yeah, so we do like the husbandry side of stuff, looking after them and making sure that they're health checked and there's nothing wrong with them. But the interesting part for me is the more theory with the I can't say the word, anatomical, that's a word,
Well done.
side of things. I find that really quite interesting, and finding out a bit more about breeds and genetics and all that. So yeah, we're coming up to the end of the year, but I'm excited, and I'm hoping that I'll continue to be studying with the SRUC next year. Well, this coming year.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And one final question for both of you. What have been your highlights so far, Kat?
See, if you asked me that a few months ago, I'd be like, halls. I love being in halls. And now I'm like, actually, I think what I loved the most about halls was meeting people. Because you meet such a wide variety of people from different places. So I met a couple of girls on the Shetland Islands. I still don't know what they say. I've known them nearly a year. I have no idea what they say. There's a couple of girls from Ballick, Perth. So there's such a wide variety of people that we have different interests, and we can all, like, we've got the same vibe, we've got the same energy, and like we just thrive off each other. I think that's what my highlight is the most, was meeting people. I was far more excited than I thought I would be to just do it, and I can't wait to go back in September.
Thank you very much. And finally to Lucy, what's been the highlights for you?
I think the biggest highlight, and it's probably the obvious answer, is working with the animals. But this year, just with the conditions that we've been learning in, I don't know if you'll agree, Kat, it was meeting, because we got everyone onto a Snapchat group from our classes, and then it was kind of like a game of guess who when we went into practicals to match everyone up to their names. So it's definitely been meeting everyone. I think I've made a good few friends, and yeah, just being a bit more sociable than we have the last couple of months sitting in our room looking at a laptop.
I think that pretty much sums up student life though, isn't it? You know, the academics are one side of it, but the social aspects are really important as well. That's why we come to university, to meet new people and have that experience, as well as getting our degrees and our HNDs and our NCs, etc. So that has come to the end of our session. There's no questions come in. I think the reason for that is, my goodness, I think Audrey and Lucy and Kat have answered everything in full. I don't think there's much more you could find out now. I think you've pretty much covered everything. If you do have any other questions that you didn't want to ask tonight publicly, if you want to reply to the email that I sent the link out on, and I will direct the questions to the relevant people, like Audrey said earlier. So as I said prior to the presentation, we've recorded the event, and I'm off tomorrow, but I'll be sending out the link on Monday to you. And if that throws up again anything, please let us know. Included in the email will be a link to a short feedback questionnaire, so it would be fantastic if you could just take a few seconds of your time to answer that for you, just to let us know how we've done tonight, and if there's anything we could improve on for the next run of events in August. So all it leaves me to do is to, on behalf of Audrey and Kat and Lucy and myself, is to say thank you very much for coming along. It's been great to have you. It's a beautiful night in Aberdeen, so hopefully it's a beautiful night wherever you are as well, and have a lovely evening, and bye-bye.